What's up, everybody? Shem here with 20 pages, and welcome to the next book breakdown. The next one in the series is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson, and that is brought to you by a couple that is smashing in their car right now. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have ever followed Jordan B. Peterson before. He's a professor at a university. I don't know which university in particular. However, he is a brilliant psychologist and I think sociologist, if I'm not mistaken. He has so many good, valuable lessons that he teaches. There's a lot of video clips online of his teachings, of his seminars, and I highly encourage you guys to watch it. They are mind-blowing to how much he actually takes apart society and pulls out things that you never really notice to the naked eye, but once you listen to his theories, you start realizing, holy crap, the shit that he's talking about is super true. And you start realizing this in social dynamics. But what he has written is the book 12 Rules for Life. I don't know too much about it besides the fact it kind of just says it in the name, 12 Rules for Life. So it pretty much is, I guess you can say, a route on how to live your life happily and live a successful life. I've only read 40 pages so far. It's a fantastic book. I love it, especially because I've dabbled into his teachings through online. And the first 20 pages, something that he teaches that he actually mentions in quite a few of his seminars is how lobsters are very identical to humans. Now, it's very interesting because these crustaceans, we as humans can learn a lot out of them. They actually have a very similar societal hierarchy just like humans. You wouldn't realize it to the naked eye, obviously, as I mentioned before, but he breaks it down to this point where you start noticing these things and it blows your mind. Let's get right into the points. So first one being is pretty much, lobsters are very similar to humans. So the first subpoint in this category is lobsters fight for survival, just like humans do. Lobsters, whenever they're, searching for food at the bottom of the ocean, they keep going around, crawling around, trying to assert their dominance, their territory to find food and survive. And amongst this, they also need to mate. And it's very interesting how these creatures behave. I'm not going to go too far in depth with it as I always recommend to read the book yourself because you're going to learn a lot more than me just telling you. But how this relates to the human side is humans have to do whatever they can to survive as well. Now, in this kind of society, it's a little different. You don't go around, grabbing spears and try to kill bears and shit. You don't do that anymore. Now you go to the store and actually get food and whatnot. But in order to do that, you need money. And how do you get money? You work for it. And once you work for it, you finally have additional income to actually go survive. How to survive out here with lodging, food, whatever else, any other necessities. Now, how does this relate to the lobster lifestyle? It relates to the lobsters because lobsters do whatever they can in their nature to survive. If they have to go out and hunt for days until they get food, they will do that. It's the same thing in a human drive. Whenever you run out of money, whenever you're in a situation where you can't really do much because you don't have money, you need to survive somehow. So what do? You usually get your shit together and try to get a job so you can get some money so you can live. Kind of very similar situation that I have right now, actually, because I just got laid off of my job. I got laid off and I have a very tight timeline, and I need to make money pretty much very quickly because school loans are kicking in. So my nature is to survive, and by that, I gotta do what I gotta do to go make money so I can survive and not be buried in debt and eventually end up in jail or some shit. I don't know. So it did mention actually how lobsters assert their dominance in a certain territory. Now I want to go back to this, so this is going to be the second subpoint, and that is the fact that these lobsters, they kind of crawl around the ocean floor and try to assert their dominance to other lobsters, pretty much saying, like, if you f with me, I will f you up. So how does this relate to humans? Just like humans in business, for example, whenever you're in some kind of business setting, you're in the industry and you're trying to make a killing, you're trying to survive. So what do? You try to assert your dominance in that field. You try to destroy, you try to dominate the whole marketplace so no one can take you down. It's just like the lobsters. Lobsters try to do whatever they can in order to stay afloat and survive. So in order to do that, they assert their dominance. That kind of transitions nicely into the third point, which is going to be lobster loser and lobster winner. This is a very interesting paradigm coming from the hierarchy, I guess you can say, from the lobsters. Now, what do I mean by that? Whenever lobsters go into a certain territory which is not theirs, and it's owned or dominated by another lobster, that dominating lobster is going to see that lobster and is going to get pissed. I guess you can say that alpha lobster and the beta lobster are going to attack, and you can kind of see where this is going to go already. The alpha lobster is going to win because it's his territory, it's his dominance. Now, there are situations where the beta male, I guess you can say, wins and becomes the alpha, but let's not get into that. Now, going back to the example, whenever these two lobsters get into an altercation, the alpha lobster tries to assert its dominance and tries to take out that lobster. Now, the lobster usually gets to this point where it can either kill off that beta lobster or actually let him survive and know not to fuck around in his territory again. Now, the interesting part of this is whenever the lobster decides the second part, the alpha lobster decides the second part where he lets that lobster live, that lobster is mentally, I guess you can say, deranged. Whenever the lobster starts going off again, trying to find food, trying to scour the ocean bottom, whenever it comes across any other circumstance where it needs food and it turns out it's in the wrong territory again, he knows he's going to get his fucking shit rocked. That's why it's a very interesting paradigm, because it relates to humans. Now, relating to the human side of it, whenever, let's say in a business standpoint, let's say there's a big fish in the pond, let's say Microsoft, and a small tech startup company that wants to compete against Microsoft. It's kind of obvious where this is going to go, because this big company, Microsoft, dominates the industry. This little tiny company is going to have struggles and hardships trying to reach the top. And Microsoft knows that. Microsoft knows that it's at the very top. And if any other company tries to reach up there, it's going to try and shut them down very quickly, because Microsoft wants that market share. So this is interesting, because the companies that are at the top, they're going to keep reaping the loot, because they're always at the top. They know they're going to keep on winning and winning and winning, and they're just going to keep reaping the loot, while the smaller companies, I guess you can say the beta companies, are going to fall and crumble because they can't get a piece of that nice market share. The individuals that come up top, the 1%, it's interesting that they became the 1% because they had the same exact resources as the rest of the 99%. However, they knew how to take advantage of it, and how to take action, and how to kill it, and how to become the 1%. So that is a huge key takeaway. We all have the same around us. There's only some of us that know how to utilize it and become successful with it. Hopefully you are one of them. It's a very interesting concept. I do love it. But let's go on to the fourth subpoint, mating. I'm not going to go too in depth with it. At least I'm trying not to get too grotesque. But this is an interesting topic that really relates to society's hierarchy today. With humans, I should say. So lobsters, whenever they get into this altercation with other lobsters and whatnot, and they turn out to be the victor, they're the ones that are the dominant ones, the alpha ones, the female lobsters notice this and acknowledge it. And what they do is they can, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure Jordan Peterson mentions that they omit this certain chemical that allows the male to realize that they're releasing signs of attraction. So the male takes advantage of that and keeps reaping the reward. So I guess you can say the dominant lobster keeps getting more women. So this kind of proves itself in today's society as well. So whenever you look at individuals of high status, either male or female, the opposite sex is usually very attracted to that because they can see that they have a strong head on their shoulders, they know where they're going with their life, and they have a very dominant personality, and they know what they're searching for. That's actually a very attractive trait to a lot of human beings because humans pretty much try to seek guidance. And if they find someone that kind of has that guidance, that path, they're very easily attracted to that, which in turns eventually opens up their legs. Well guys, that's all I have left in today's video. Be sure to drop a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video. Other than that, follow us on Instagram and please subscribe below. I'd really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Keep being amazing and keep being great. Take care.